Well, I was hired and then fired before I had a chance.
Wait, what do you mean? Why did they fire you?
Well, they fired me because they landed on another woman. They said they preferred her after I signed the contract, which I reminded them. And they said, yes, but we didn't sign it. I had already told all my friends I'm going to Hollywood. I was so embarrassed. I bought 2 new outfits, new luggage. There I was going to Hollywood, and it was canceled. So I suggested to the producer that all my good luck came after rejection, and I considered his rejection a lucky charm. And I wrote a short, terse email to him and suggested he invite me out with her and compete for the seat. And that's exactly what he did, thank God.
You're kidding me.
Really, I turned my good fortune around by doing what I did best, what I always do best, getting back up, taking another swing. Just took another swing. Do you know what? The first day on Shark Tank, my producer said, we rejected 42 men that wanted the position in the other seats. I said, you're kidding. He said, not one wrote to me. Not one wrote to me objecting to the rejection. These are successful millionaires, billionaires. That's amazing that they didn't.
You know what I find interesting is so many people are not willing to ask for what they want. And that's one thing about you. You do ask for what you want.
Well, I've learned. Not easily. Not easily. Women have a hard time asking for anything. You know what happens, I find? You could want to climb a mountain with your team. When the men are halfway up, they'll say, I'm the king of the mountain, and they'll brag about it. Women will climb all the way up, set up the tent, make sure the kids are fed, everybody's happy, and say, I had all the help of my team to get here. Women don't take credit. They don't ask for help. They're shy. What a waste. Open your mouth. My God, opening your mouth got me everything I got. Without opening my mouth, I would have nothing.
How many seasons have you been on Shark Tank? Like, you're one of the OGs.
1,000, like 18 something, whatever, out from the beginning.
So I would love to have you kind of put us right at the scene, because every single pitch is a founder.
Yes.
And an idea. And yeah, you got a sales story or not.
Yes.
But when you're sitting there as an investor and a judge,
yes,
what are you evaluating?
I'm just evaluating the entrepreneur. I couldn't give a damn about the picture of the business that they're painting.
Really?
Usually, very often, the numbers are exaggerated. Everything, you're getting a sales pitch. I'm looking at that entrepreneur and saying, do I believe them? And in most instances, I'm not believing the sales pitch. But now I'm looking at the person and focusing on the person as to whether they're a capable entrepreneur. And what I look for is something they've done in their life that was hazardous, something they did in their life that they failed miserably. They have a father who is drinking, a mother who damned them to hell, something that they have to prove. And if I find that fire in them, they might not have anything but that, but I buy in because they will always be successful. They want to get even. They haven't had a chance. They want to get even. And that burns so deep that I believe in them. And they're great partners because when the business is sold, they're so appreciative of their success, their dream come true. They're so thankful. And it's so satisfying for me to see that full circle of success.
When you are listening to a pitch, what is the difference between somebody that has that fire in their belly and they're really confident versus somebody that is so overbearing?
Well, one is, do you want to spend any time with them? When someone's overbearing, that's the last thing I need in my life. They're out right away. I won't say I'm out right away. I have to stay in the show. But, I have a simple test I do many times on Shark Tank. When I'm not sure about the person, I think, would I put my baby in their arms? And could I come back and find my baby in good shape? And that's my test. I think, yeah, I would trust them. So they become my partner.
That's actually an excellent way to judge anybody.
Well, it sizes everything up.
How do you know if you're built to have your own business versus being somebody that should just work for somebody else and be great at building a career inside somebody else's company?
I think it's a real dividing line. I think someone in their own business loves risk. They're not afraid of the risk, whether it be money, people, what they do with their day, their ideas that they have. They're not afraid of risk. It turns them on. It's kind of like a trait in their personality. And I think someone who's good in business has a good time getting back up. It's almost like a jack in the box. If you're the type that says, hit me again, I'm a jerk, hit me again, chances are you should be an entrepreneur. But if you're not enjoying risk and you can't take a hit, you're better off working for somebody else. It's hard to develop that skill in you if you don't have it.
I think you either have it or not.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that.
I do.
That's what I'm trying to size up on Shark Tank all the time. Do people have those two skills?
How do you figure that out?
I asked them, we have an hour and a half on Shark Tank. Like,
Really? That's how long the pitch is?
it's 8 minutes at home, but it's an hour and a half on Shark Tank in real time.
Wow.
So we get a chance to ask them all kinds of questions that don't make good TV, but are very good for us as investors. And I listen, what did you do before? What did you think about that? Did that fail? Oh, how did you feel about that failure? What did you do after that? So I'm trying to find someone who's strong, who's capable of running a business, and someone who put all their bets on their business and they lost. What do I care? That's a good sign. They're willing to put all their bet on one business and they lost. I love it. But a guy who's telling me he's going to go back to mom and pa and get family and friends financing again, and he's going to change direction, means they're going to lose you money again. I hate that kind of stuff. I never invest in rich kids. I always invest in poor people on Shark Tank because they have a burn in their belly and something to prove, and they're my kind of people. And I want to give them the opportunity that I was given. I mean, the one ticket that they might have their dream come true and I can make it happen is much more exciting than putting myself in line with the rich parents who funded the first business. Forget it.
What are some of your favorite things that you've invested in?
My favorite entrepreneurs, and it's always about the entrepreneurs, not the businesses. I almost forget at times what business they're in, even though I'm helping them all the time, is the Cousins Maine Lobster. I love those guys because the day they came on Shark Tank, they lied to me, and I love them for the lie.
What did they lie?
They told me what their sales were per month, but they never told me they were only in business for a week. I thought I was buying into a big business. No, I was not. It was just one little lobster truck, and they had been only open one weekend. But they had taken all the questions from Shark Tank for 3 years, and they had practiced answering them, and they were slick. They could sell. I love them and had to buy them.
What is your 3-month rule?
After 3 months, when I close on a deal on Shark Tank, I invite the entrepreneur into my office, and we review where he's going to go with the business. That's always the time when something goes wrong. The prototype didn't come in right. The order was promised, it wasn't delivered. Something goes wrong. So I just sit there and ask, what do you think about what went wrong? And the people who blame somebody else, I drop. I mean, they still have my money, but I take their picture off the wall or I turn it upside down more often. But the people who take it in the chest and take the blame that they should have thought of this or they should have anticipated it, and I know they're going to be successful because those are the people who are always successful. The people who are honest and say, I'm in charge. I should have been in charge of this, and I'm taking the blame.
I agree. Let's talk about preparation.
Yeah.
Because you and I are both people that will outwork anybody. Preparation, preparation, preparation. Why is that such an underrated habit and skill to understand that over preparing is a key to being successful?
Do you know why? I think when you over prepare, you don't realize it, but you're building your confidence. And when you build your confidence, you come across more naturally, more believably, and you usually get the order. I've over-prepared for everything in my life. I remember going and speaking with the Corcoran Group agents at junctures along the way where I had cold sores over both my lips because I was so nervous preparing for 2 weeks for a 1-hour presentation.
To people who work for you.
Yes, they did. They were going to accept whatever I said, but I wanted to impress them. I wanted them to be motivated. How will I do it? Will I say it this way, that way? I had to go on vacation right after the sales meeting. I would have had a heart attack. But I over-prepared so I could stand up there with confidence. And did I come across with confidence? You betcha. Did I cover all the millions of points I wanted to cover? No. Did I motivate everybody there? Yes, I did. Because I was confident. They wanted to be me.
And you were confident because you prepared. And I think it's such an important story because these are people that work for you.
Yeah.
And you're not winging it. You're preparing because it matters to you. And you want to do a good job.
Well, the more you know people, the more difficult it is to impress them because you take it more personally.
You know, one of the things I'm curious about is, having such a big public career and being somebody who's so competitive and entrepreneurial, how have you been able to have successful romantic relationships, marriage, when you're out in the world? This is something that a lot of women navigate these days. Like, how do you balance Barbara out there in the world versus Barbara, the mom, and Barbara, the wife?
Honestly, it's probably the largest challenge to a successful woman. Now, I married Bill in a second marriage, and he was the right husband. Bill is Bill. He's not going to change whether he's talking to a pauper or a pope. Bill is Bill. And when I got really heady at times, he would squeeze my head in and tell me to keep it in. Don't get too confident. So I loved him for that. But the thing that worked the best out of everything I tried was getting a separate bedroom, honestly, and getting a separate bed from Bill. Because I would invite him in and it added the romance into the marriage. And that's really the best advice I could give. It's really hard to be powerful and have a man who's not demasculated. You have to pick the right guy.
It's so true.
You know, my husband Bill would call me and pretend he was a New York Times reporter if he wanted to speak with me. I so expertly separated business from home. You wouldn't dare call me when I'm working. And my kids didn't dare call me unless they were dying. And then I would hear from them. I don't think they ever died. But likewise at home, people at work would never call me at home. It's my family time. So separating the two pieces was the only way I survived. And I didn't do a great job of it, but I did the best job I could.
I'd love to talk a little bit more about your just insights about women and success.